Hey, you, what's happening at work? What's keeping you up at night? What's causing you frustration or depleting your wellness at work? Talk to me and with me. This is Joyce Odidison, your host with the What's Happening at Work show, where we create solutions to work, live, and play well. Join me now for next episode. Hello, everyone. Joyce Odidison here, and today we have a guest. Our guest today is Doug Bass. Doug is the owner and president of Your Style Financial. He has been a financial service industry in the industry since 1987. He has specialized in the design and implementation of benefits programs, as well as assisting business owners and their employees and families in their personal, financial, tax, and estate planning needs. Doug is a friendly, energetic, and professional speaker with a unique style that will ensure everyone has an opportunity to achieve their dreams, especially their financial dreams. Doug, I want to welcome you to our show today.
Thank you, Joyce. I appreciate being here.
My pleasure. So, Doug, I've known you as a financial planner and educator. I love that about you. There's such an emphasis on your work in educating people about financial well-being. Share with me a little bit about your story. How did you get into doing this work?
Kind of funny, actually. My father owned a construction company, and I worked for him all through junior high and high school. And so the year after high school, I decided to work full time. And I think he gave me the most difficult jobs to do because I was freezing my hands and my feet working outside in the winter. And so that was a bit of a wake-up call for me to now say, do I want to do this for the rest of my life? So deciding that I wanted to now be a business owner versus the employee working outside, I decided to go back to university. So I went to University of Manitoba, did my Bachelor of Commerce Honors, focused on finance and marketing. And at University of Manitoba, they have a thing called the business banquet, where companies will buy a table. They'll have 4 employees at the table and 4 students. Well, in third year university, I got sat at TD Bank's table. Fourth year university, I got sat at London Life's table. I ended up getting job offers from both of them. So I went to my dad and said, Dad, what do I do? I now have some job offers. The whole intention of me going to school was to learn business to come take over your business. And he said, Doug, you know what? You don't feel obligated to come work with me right now in the business. And at that time, construction was fairly cutthroat too. So he said, you know what? Go try it. If you don't like it, you can always come back and work with me. So I felt very blessed that way that he gave me the opportunity to do this. So I looked at it. Did I want to be a bank teller or did I want to go into the insurance route? What they were talking about at London Life sounded exciting, dealing with business owners and doing benefits and pensions and individual insurance and planning work. So I jumped in with London Life. So I started in 1987. Now, unfortunately, London didn't tell me that they were going to be transferring all of us from Winnipeg to Toronto. So I ended up getting placed in Brampton, Ontario, which was a great city. Learned a ton about time management being in Ontario. But I only ended up staying with London for about a year and a half. I asked to transfer back to Winnipeg because my wife and I are both from here. We wanted to raise a family here. So I ended up quitting London, joined a brokerage firm in Winnipeg called Rice Financial Group. So I was at Rice Financial Group for 18 years. I actually headed up their insurance and benefit areas. My title when I left the firm was Executive Vice President. And then I opened up my own firm, Your Style Financial, in 2005.
Wow, that's a great synopsis and quite the story. And I can see you just that go-getter, your personality, such high energy. And here you are today, many, many years later, continuing to educate your community on financial well-being. So, Doug, what is the one thing, if you could say, that keeps you motivated and passionate about doing this work?
I love helping people. And my process is the same, whether a person has $5 or $5 million, it's the exact same process for me. And I love seeing people make these little changes in their life that impact them so significantly for the future. And that's where, that gives me my greatest joy. That was partly why when I left Rice, and went back into personal practice is that I was tired of being the guy training new advisors. I wanted to now deal with my clients. And so today I'm very blessed. I have 4 generations of clients, 1,200 families, just over 1,200 families now we're looking after. So it's very exciting.
Very good. So here we are, and as we look at what's going on in our world, we are facing COVID-19. And yes, it has caused some financial crunches in the world, and many people are nervous about what's happening financially. And I thought, as an educator, what are some key things that my audience could learn from you? Because no matter where you work or no matter what you do need to develop your financial well-being and security. So what are some key points you would like to share with the audience that they could be thinking of?
I would really want everybody to take this time, this opportunity is really how I see it, because it is a wake-up call. Everybody, no matter what industry, no matter what age, everyone has been affected by COVID-19 financially, right? People have been laid off, offices are closed, businesses are closed. So people are having a hard time making ends meet. And as a planner, we've always talked about people having 3 months savings of what their expenses are going to be so that if something was to happen to them, they'd be okay. This wake up call has now forced them to realize they didn't have that saved. They weren't ready for that. And now the fact that this could go on into the fall, this could be 6 months of time frame where people don't have cash flow coming in to pay their living expenses. So I want people to use this opportunity as a wake-up call to really look at what's coming in the door and where is their money going. And the best way to do that is look back over the last 3 months and where have they spent their money. So go back for January, February, March. Right? We're just starting April now, so it's a perfect time to look back and say, what did we spend? Was it a fixed expense? Was it a variable expense? Is it something that we really needed? Was it a want? Was it a need? Where did it fit?
Mm. So if I were to go back, and as you're saying that, and I'm reflecting, and I,
Mm-hmm.
as a business owner and a property owner, and I
Yep.
am looking back and I'm thinking, okay, what did I spend? Was it fixed? Once I do that, what is the next step? And that's kind of what I want my audience to be doing. You're
Yep.
probably, some people are listening, they're working from home right now, as you said, their life has been upset. Some people have been laid off and they don't have an income coming in. Thankfully, many governments in the first world are offering some financial support, but it's nothing compared to what people get on a regular salary. It's just enough to float, to do the basics, or not even in some cases. So, what once I do that, what's
Yeah.
the next step?
The goal that always results from it, because anybody that comes to see me, I get them to do the cash flow. I call it a cash flow analysis, but it basically allows them to see where they spent the money. How many times were they going out to Tim Hortons for coffee? How many times were they buying lunch out? How many times did they go out for dinner? How many times did they buy groceries and ate at home? And now that people have been forced to quarantine and stay at home, the amount of food that they've prepared at home, and it's forced them to now learn and cook for themselves and spend time with their family and see how enjoyable that can be, that they can slow down and be able to enjoy a meal with one another because they're not rushed to go on to the next thing anymore. So that's part of the opportunity that I'm seeing as well, is people are learning more about how much time they wasted before running from here to there. But to go back to your question as far as what do they want to look for, they can now decide on what piece was important as an expense. When they look at how much they're spending on food, how much they're spending on clothing, hair care products right now, people aren't able to go get their hair done, haircuts, having their nails done, all that type of stuff. I know in our household, we're saving money because my wife isn't able to go and do that. So there is some saving selfishly that is happening there too. But it is really giving people the opportunity to just step back for a second and look at where did the money go? And if I have no money coming in, what can we do? And so my wife and I took this time. We went to our freezer and took everything out of the freezer and made now a list. Because we are now putting together lists of what our meal options are, and then what day are we going to have those particular meals. We've done the same thing in the cupboards. As a planner, I'm kind of loving this because I love planning. And so forcing us to now go to the cupboard to say, what do we have? What things do we really need? What are the nice to have? What are the really necessary to have? That we can now, when we make our grocery list, because we're only going to the grocery store once every 2 weeks, what is going to be on our list that when we go to the grocery store, we're only buying what we need. There's no more of this response of, oh, I'm going to buy this, I'm going to buy this, I'm going to buy that. No, here's what we need to fulfill the cupboard because we've made a list of what our menu is going to be at home. That is helping the budget and cash flow as well.
That is such a wise thing to do. That just makes me chuckle because that's something we've had to learn to do. My family have had to learn to do. Over a decade ago, when I moved out from home, when I stopped working from home and had an office, uh, I had to cook all our meals on Sundays. So
Yep.
we were forced to grocery shop for that week's meal, and it's become
You
such
get
a
it.
habit. I don't even think about it anymore.
Yeah.
It's just part of our pattern. And you're right, because you end up buying the things you need to cook for that week instead of just buying all this stuff and put in there. And it's funny because my husband and I are very different in personality. He's the one who he likes to buy like we're going to have a farm in, and and he buys
Yep.
everything bulk, and he
Yeah.
buys, and I'm like, okay. And today he's going to the store, like, yeah, because who wants to go to the store? You have to
Mhm.
line up outside for an hour now.
Correct.
So when
Correct.
you go a lot, you'll be more strategic with your shopping. And he's like, oh yeah, you haven't given me the list of the menu yet on what we're
Mhm.
cooking, so I can go grocery shopping.
Yeah.
So funny,
And
but
and
it
it is
works.
working because I've shared this with a number of clients who were concerned, and it was more that they had so much fear and anxiety going on in their life. I said, here's one thing you can control.
Hmm.
Make the list. Go through the freezer. Go through the cupboards. Make the list. Now plan out your meals. Make the list. Great. Here's what we're going to have as a menu. Then they went online and they ordered because a number of the grocery stores now allow you to order online, and then
Hmm.
you can go to the grocery store for pickup because in this particular couple, they live out of town. It totally eliminated her fear and anxiety because
Hmm.
now she felt in control. She now knew what they were getting, picking up their groceries from the grocery store, and their
Hmm.
meals were planned and everything. And she's like, Doug, we feel okay now. Like, I know it's going to be okay. We have enough food in the cupboards now for 3 months. We're going to be okay.
Hmm.
So it is helping. So,
It is. It really is. And those are the little things that we can do to maintain our equilibrium, right? Our
mhm,
emotional
mhm,
wellness and
yeah,
as well as our financial wellness, because you are right. We are saving that, spur of the moment. Oh, why don't I, stop here for, or why don't we go out for dinner? Or why don't we, that is money. And some people don't even think about how much you go for dinner as a couple, and that's 57 between 50 and $75 depending
right.
on where you
Yeah,
go. If you get a bottle of wine, it's
correct, correct,
$100 plus. And
correct.
so you don't realize how much that was part of our nature to just do that. And no, you're saving that.
Yeah. And the
Mhm.
other
What do you
piece
do with
too
that
is
saving?
is with people's debt loads.
Mm.
A lot of people that have been talking to me in regards to their credit card debt, they were normally making the minimum payments. And, when the interest rate had gone up there back a few months ago and they saw the change of as far as what the minimum payment was, they were getting scared then. The bank kind of dropped it again now, so it's low again. But credit card payments, mortgage payments, line of credit payments, this is an opportunity for people to reach out to their financial institution, to talk to them about what can they do, because if they have no cash coming in, they don't want to miss a payment because that affects their credit rating. So
Mhm.
what can they do to help them in this time of need? And putting together the budget and cash flow is going to help them look at too, going forward, how do we get this paid off? Because if once they have a plan in place to help them know how we're going to pay this off, they're going to feel a lot less anxiety too.
Hmm. So true. Absolutely. That really does reduce the financial anxiety, having that plan, and you're doing, because anxiety comes from when you have that fear of something bad happening and you don't have action to take. When you have considered and you have decided actions that you're taking, it reduces the level of anxiety. So that's so beneficial to all of us.
What I've been encouraging people to do is prepare for the worst. So when you're going through your cupboards and you're going through your freezer, um, think about this, that this could go till Christmas. So based on
Hmm.
everything that you have right now, plan out your meals accordingly. Like I've even noticed the kids at home now. A son came up the other day and he was going to have some raspberries, and some of them were starting to turn bad. And so he said, do you want me to put these in, because we compost stuff? He said, do you want me to put these in the composter, or do we want to freeze them so because we have shakes in the morning? And I said, no, throw them in the freezer because they're not bad, but they're
Hmm.
starting to go bad. They're too soft to eat as
Hmm.
something to chew on. So, we're now looking at all of aspects. My wife is saving all of the vegetable cuttings that we're making our own vegetable broth
Hmm.
for soups, right? So it's just, we've taken a second look now and become more efficient with every piece and every item. Cat sand, we have 6 cats at home. We're using all the spare bags from our fruits and vegetables for cat sand.
Hmm.
Normally we would just throw them away and I use the typical cat sand bag. Well, now I'm not doing that anymore. This has forced me to think outside of the box and now look at how can we do things better. So prepare for the worst, hope for the best, right?
Hmm.
That if this does stop and we can get control of it and we can come out of this, economically, I see things are going to rebound significantly quickly because people have been locked up so long. They're going to want to get out. They're going to want to go for dinner. They're going to want to go to a movie. They're going to want to buy stuff. So the economy is going to come back, but still today we got to live, and we don't want people creating further financial problems for themselves because they weren't preparing and planning.
So we have a number of different situations right now. So we have a group of people who are thinking logically. They're saying, okay, what can I do? What can I have control over financially? And then there are those who are saying, you know what, I need to get over the stress. Let me just go online and shop. So there's a lot more online shopping happening. People are still buying
Yeah.
stuff. They can't physically go to the store. And what would you say to my listeners who may be tempted to buy stuff because everything looks like a really good deal now, right? I don't know if everything is a good deal, but everything is a good deal because I mean, even for us, one of the things that we've done, and I've been speaking to some of my prospective students today. Our training, we run an internationally certification program that's approved by the International Coach Federation. We're the only school in Manitoba. And our program is usually $6,500. Well, we've cut the program to $3,500 because this is a great time for people who are looking to get into this industry. To their home, they have the time, they can go through this right away and get their certification done. So there are those deals out there. But if you're going
Oh
to
yeah.
make those
Yeah.
kinds of investment, what should you
Mhm.
be thinking about?
Yeah. Again, I go back to is it a need or a want? In your situation that you just shared with the significant discount for you, that's a big picture plan. And so that's an investment. I don't see that as a spend. That's an investment in their opportunity for the future. So that one, I can see that makes sense. But for people who are doing online shopping, I call it the 24-hour rule. Anything that you want, fill the shopping cart. Go click, 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 shop everything, put it in the cart. But you don't close out that cart today. You're going to go back to that cart tomorrow, sleep on it, right? Go back to the cart tomorrow and say, is it a want? Is it a need? Do we really need it? And then does it fit into our cash flow and budget at this time? Because if you're looking at the numbers and you're running the projection forward, looking, saying, here's my income coming in over the next 3 months, here's what our expenses are to pay all the bills, to buy food, to do everything, make all the payments we got to make, right? Internet. What is the one thing that people can't live without today? Internet. Well, if you
Mhm.
can't afford to make the internet payment, what's going to happen? Your internet's going to get shut off, right? So
Mhm.
people, they got to prioritize. And so from an online shopping perspective, they got to decide how important is that item to their current standard of living and what they're doing in big picture going forward.
Mm. So this is a really good teaching, and and that's one of the reasons why I really
Mhm.
liked I like what you do because it's that teaching aspect of financial wisdom and well-being that's going to sustain our society and help us to rebound. I like the piece that, you can fill the shopping cart. You still get the high from filling up your shopping cart with
Yep.
all these
Yep.
things you're buying, because
Yep.
if you're doing it just for emotional gratification, you can do all of that.
Yep.
And then you have a nice sleep, like, oh, wow, imagine all these things are coming. And then get up tomorrow morning and ask yourself, okay, has it been 24 hours? Do I really need that? Was it just a nice to have? So, yes, I have it now. How does it change my life? And how does it impact me for the future? And I like the differences between an investment and a gratification, because are we just buying something that's a spend, or are we investing? And you're correct. There are investment that we need to make because we need to start thinking about our future. Where is the business going to be? Where's the market? Where are the needs going to be moving as we look long term? How can I, especially those of us who are entrepreneurs, how can I position myself so that I am ready to meet that need, big picture? So a lot of people I've been talking about are looking at doing different things, taking, retraining or refocusing or making those big picture plan. And the finance piece has to come into that. Investment is so critical. And I really love that element that you shared.
One of the things I'm encouraging people to do at this time as well is making to-do lists. So again, I'll go back to my construction days. One of the beautiful things about working construction was I could see what I did at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
However, when I came over to the financial services industry, it's very difficult to see what I did at the end of the day. Talked to a lot of people, did a lot of things, but I couldn't really see. I put another level of a floor on the job site. So what I have loved about my industry now is creating to-do lists. And so I'll make a list of everything I want to do today. I'll prioritize them as far as what order I want to do them in. And then as I do them, I check them off. That gives me a feeling of accomplishment. So I'm tracking that result as far as what I did today. Whatever I didn't complete today, if time ran out, I use an arrow and move it now forward to the next day for next day's to-do list. I have the same thing at home. My wife actually bought a notepad. It's called the honey-do list. And on it is action items for the honey-do list. There's items to purchase, so things that we need for the household, whether it be groceries or items, for in the garage, whatever it may be. And then miscellaneous stuff at the bottom. So it's wonderful for me. I need that to help me know I achieved something throughout the day. So yeah.
Mhm. I like that you talk about time, because one of the things that I teach in when we do that financial wellness dimension is talk about time. Time is money.
Yep.
And it's so important for us to use our time wisely. And so often we don't. We
Mm-hmm.
just think time is nothing, and we don't quantify our time or put quality into how we're spending our time. And I think that is so significant to our life and our well-being, and what are we spending our time on, because those time can be creative time, it can be innovative time, we can spend time to develop things that can be, I know for myself, when I spend time creating a course, I can sell that course 100 times,
Right.
millions of times. So
Right.
time is so important, and we do need to think about time management and that whole critical aspect of analyzing our time in the whole concept of financial well-being. So I really like that.
I'm all about living a balanced lifestyle. I actually wrote a book called Life Balance.
Mm-hmm.
There's 7 chapters in the book. There's, financial, obviously, but there's family issues, education, health, fitness, relationship, and spirituality, the glue that keeps everything together. But
Mm-hmm.
from a health and wellness perspective,
Mm-hmm.
time management wise, I'm a morning guy. And so I get up every morning and do my workout before I start my day. I used to work out at lunch, but I found I was missing too many workouts because of lunch meetings and appointments.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Mm-hmm.
moved it to the mornings because that was something I could control.
Mm-hmm.
I would get up and do my workout so that I could be at the office. And I just find it reinvigorates me for the day, and it helps me manage stress as well. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I would encourage listeners to capitalize on this time and now develop exercise into their daily routine. and picking a time that works best for them, whether it's morning, whether it's afternoon, whatever. But think about it logically that once this pandemic is over, that they're going to be able to continue to do it. Because you have lots of time, as you said, Joyce, you're right. People can blow a ton of time sitting on the computer or watching TV, watching a ton of episodes on Netflix. This should be all about them. Invest in themselves and take this opportunity to look at it.
Absolutely. And there is so much. There's the temptation, I think I was looking, I try to get at least one episode of news. I'm not a TV watcher and I've never been a big news follower, but my son made a comment. He's like, Mom, I've never seen you watch the news more diligently.
We do every day as
well.
Hearing the updates. Yep, I get you. Yep.
And I said, there are times where we need to watch the news, although I can find all of those things on the internet and do. But I said, it's nice to kind of just look at because they show different aspects in different part of the world. So yes, I do try to catch either a morning and evening, but news. But yeah, one of the things that I do, like I'm a morning person too, and I feel cheated when I don't have my morning routines. Get up. I used to be a 4 a.m. riser, and the last few years I moved that back to 5 a.m. But you have your ritual, right? You want to do your meditation, your workout, your writing, my journaling. Like there's just so much I try to pack into that 2 hours. So anything that gets me out of my home by I find it hard to sacrifice those pieces because they're such an elemental part of my well-being.
Yep.
And it's so important for us to have structure in our day and in our lives because that also affects us financially. It affects everything we do. It rolls into like all of those dimensions of life are built upon, they impact each other. If you're not doing well in one area, it will impact how you're executing in the other areas. So it's definitely something that we have to pay attention to.
Yeah, agreed.
Mm-hmm. All right. So as you see us down the road, and one of the things that you said, for clients, as they look at, you're helping them to look at this, see the big picture and move away from the fear to what they can control. And you've made, some comments that this may go on longer than we know how to. And if someone is thinking financially, if there's one thing they can do right now to get to feel that they're doing something to improve their financial well-being, what are some key little things that you think they could do or you've seen other people do right now that just helps them to feel or get on the right track?
Just take, whether they use a credit card to buy stuff or they use their debit card, take and pull up last month's statement and categorize what did they spend on food, what did they spend on personal items, what did they spend on fuel, what did they spend on going out for dinner, what did they spend on casual stuff, coffee with friends or whatever. Break it down into sections so that they can see where is their current money going. And once they look at that, it's going to make them realize, oh, I could be doing things differently. Mm-hmm. And that is going to give them a sense of control. And, you and I both know we can't fix anybody's problems. We can give them the tools to fix the problem, but they got to do the work. And so it's, it's the old horse adage, right? I can take the horse to the water, but I can't make him drink. So, we're here to help. And if they need help, they can reach out to us. That's why we're here. But at the end of the day, it's up to them.
It is.
And everybody can do it. They just gotta. It's funny how, especially at this time too, people are saying, "Oh, I don't know how I did this before." Well, you know what? It's because it's a priority now that you're doing it. Mm-hmm. So it's amazing. A lot of business owners, a lot of entrepreneurs are learning as well the intricacies of their business and how the efficiencies can be improved upon because people don't have to be at the office to do things now.
Mm-hmm. So, it's true because you could make yourself look busy or feel busy and not really be doing anything of consequence, right?
Yep,
and you're right. I mean, I've been in business for 24 years and I've always been a legacy builder. I always look at what can I do to build legacy and the work that I do. And I've done a lot of pieces that I can continue to use in the future. And so we need to be wise about how we build our businesses, because if I was just depending on one source of income or people come in, it would have been a challenging situation right now. And having that diversification, or just being looking down the road and looking at how you build those building blocks of your business is essential. So I think every entrepreneur right now should be thinking about how I run my business, what can I do to bring more financial security, and looking down the road, how do I get what am I going to do post COVID-19 to create more financial well-being. So I really enjoyed this conversation with you, and financially, and the whole budgeting piece, which, making that list and categorizing is also on the budgeting time, budgeting emotions, budgeting, money, all of
Everything we do now, Joyce, has to have a plan. So for me as a planner, I love it sort of, because to go to the grocery store, you have to plan it out, because you said earlier, right? People are standing in line for 2 hours. Okay, well, am I going to have the stuff with me to be dressed if it's -4 outside, right? Like I got to have mitts and gloves and, or a toque. And so people are having to plan everything they do. So take this opportunity to plan all the other stuff in your life that's going on. And you will feel so much control and so much better about your life going forward. So 100% agreed. Thank you.
Absolutely. Control is it's a state of mind.
Yeah.
And if you give yourself all the information and tools, absolutely, you will definitely feel in control. Wow, Doug, this was a very good conversation. I really enjoyed. I think I have learned, and I think my audience will learn a lot, and tips that they can use right now as they see where they are and as they move into COVID-19. So thank you so much for being on the show today, and we'll continue learning from you. And thank you so much, Doug. Any last thoughts?
My pleasure. No, people just take the time, capitalize on this time to put plans in place that are important to you. Everybody has priorities. Figure out what yours are. I actually have a priorities worksheet on my website. So if people want to go to my website, yourstylefinancial.ca, they can see my priorities worksheet. They can check off the items that are of priority to them at this stage of their life, and now put plans in place to help them achieve that. So thank you. I appreciate being here.
Excellent, Doug. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye. You've been listening to What's Happening at Work. This is Joyce Edison, your host, and I want to thank you for being with us. Thank our guests and our sponsors, Interpersonal Wellness Services, Inc., the Global Workplace Wellness Summit, and of course, the Wellness Competency Mindset Movement. And if you want to hear from us, learn more, or get more episodes, join us at interpersonalwellness.com, where we help you to work, live, and play well. Bye now, and we'll see you for another episode.